Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Preston's 8 Legs. Today I'm going to be doing an overview of the supplies and equipment that I use to keep my tarantulas. So first off, I'm going to start with tarantula cribs. This is an arboreal cylinder enclosure. This is what I used to keep my Caribbean versicolor in. I don't have them in there right now because unfortunately they passed away about a year ago just due to a bad molt. But I have this enclosure here. It's really good. It's nice. It's you can tell that it's arboreal because it has the ventilation holes going almost all the way down the sides of the enclosure. They made this, I'm pretty sure they still make it. They made this exact same enclosure but with a fossorial type setup to it. And basically what that means is that they'll only have the ventilation holes up to about here on this side, or they'll just kind of turn it so that you can put more dirt and not have the dirt spewing out the holes. So this is what I use for my arboreal type tarantulas and spiders, and that's how it just snaps on and closes up. It just has this little snap-on magnetic lid. Tarantula cribs actually uses rare earth magnets, so it just, you can tell when you have it on correctly, because like here it actually will just kind of keep on sliding off because the magnets are not at the right side. So what you do here, you get that little snap and you know that it's on there. And what's nice is that with these magnets, you know that pretty much even with a full-grown tarantula, they're not going to be getting this lid off and these magnets getting pushed away. So that's nice because you don't have to worry about them escaping or anything. Next is a tarantula cribs small slider. This is a terrestrial enclosure that they have, and this is what I just rehoused my Grammostola pulchra and Grammostola pulchrips from into a medium version of this, which is bigger than this, obviously. So basically this is just like I said, this is a terrestrial version, so this has the ventilation holes about halfway up, and this has enough room for dirt and substrate and whatever else you want to put in there. And this is the lid that they give you. This is actually just a standard lid. I know for some of the other enclosures they actually have a max vent lid, which means that they just put holes and ventilation holes across the whole entire lid. That way you can have more airflow going through it, which is nice for some species of tarantula that you can keep. And this one's really nice too because you just kind of slide it in the channel. It can't fall off the top. And you just slide it and it locks in with the magnets. And it's nice and tight. There ain't no way that a tarantula is going to get past this door. Going to be able to push it open. And as long as you push it all the way, let's see here. You can probably get right about, yep, and it pulls it in. So you know that it's locked in tight. Now you can obviously put it in upside down, but it just, the handle actually stops it so that you know that it's not on correctly. So I use tarantula cribs, one, because they use this crystal clear acrylic. They're well built. They do the best type of enclosure for tarantulas, and I continue to use them, and I've had great success with them so far. So that's what I use for my enclosure. Now let's go to what I use inside the enclosures. Okay, so now on to the stuff that I use inside the enclosure, not for necessarily decoration, but for more practical, actually need use. I don't necessarily need the leaf litter because I don't run bioactive enclosures just yet, but I will eventually. But they add a nice vibe and look to the enclosures, and they look more naturalistic, so that's always better. And I think that's more not so decoration wise, this is more just essential wise. So as you can see, as you probably can't see it from here, but this says the Bio Dude, and this also says the Bio Dude, and this also says the Bio Dude. So the Bio Dude is I believe a Texas company. They, yep, right here, actually it says on the label here, Houston, Texas. So they make not just stuff obviously for tarantulas, but they make substrates, sphagnum mosses, leaves, plants, anything that you need to make a bioactive enclosure or just any type of enclosure, they have it. Whether that's an invert, it's a reptile, it's a desert reptile, rainforest reptile, they have it all. I think they have about 6 different varieties of the substrate, and then they have a ton of different mosses, leaf sizes. They have cork barks, plants of all different species. So it's really great. They really take care of their customers. They've always been great to me. They ship out fast. They have good products, and they have good quality products, which is the number one thing for me. So actually, I'm going to get a little cup here. That way you guys can see this dirt a little bit up close. Because the thing is that, you know, there's a lot of companies that just make, you know, Reptisoil, like, I think that's Exoterra, some company like that. And, you know, I mean, it's good to a lot of people have great luck with those substrates. But at the same time, you know, it's not necessarily tailored to tarantulas. It may work perfectly, but I like something that's a little bit more tailored to what I'm using it for. And they've done their studies and the research on it, and they've done the, you know, testing for it to see how well it actually works. And this stuff really does. It works well. So you can see right here, it has obviously dirt, and it looks like it has some cocoa fiber. It has some, let me get here, pieces of charcoal, which are nice, just especially if you have a bioactive enclosure. You have some other pieces of, looks like some little tiny rocks, wood chips, all type of different stuff to really enrich the soil, especially if you have bioactive setup. This is definitely the best type of substrate that you can get, because it provides a lot of nutrients, and it has just the best type of mix for keeping plants and keeping springtails and cleanup crews and stuff like that. So it's really good. And what's nice is that it holds enough moisture for the tarantulas, but not so much moisture where it like just dampens it, and once it gets wet, it's just soaked, which no tarantula really likes that, when it's just soaking wet dirt. But it holds enough moisture for them, which is nice, and then it holds their tunnels really well. I've never had a collapsed tunnel with this substrate. All my tarantulas that are terrestrial, when they dig their tunnels, they stay very solid, and they stay for a very long time. I've never had, like I said, never had one collapse, so that's great on me, because that's the last thing I ever want, is have a tarantula's tunnel collapse on them. So put that back in there. The next I use is, make a little bit of a mess here. I use sphagnum moss. So this stuff is good. You can use it a couple different ways. One, it's mainly, it can be used for decoration, but two, I use it for decoration, but also to keep humidity levels in. So basically what you can do is you can either pre-soak this and then put it in your enclosure when you're putting it together, and then it helps really keep in the humidity. Or two, you can put it in just dry, and then you can spray it and mist it as needed, and then it keeps in that moisture and then slowly releases it. So that can also help with the moisture too, if you don't have necessarily a type of species of tarantula or whatever type of animal that you're using that doesn't necessarily need a whole lot of humidity right away, and they just need a tiny bit. This is perfect for it. So there's that. Oh, and I should specify, this is Chilean sphagnum moss. They also have some from New Zealand. It's basically the same. Obviously, it's a different type of locality, but it's the same. It works the same. It does the same stuff, so there's no super big difference about it. And then here, I had the leaf litter. So, like it says, for bioactive or naturalistic terrariums. So, basically what I use it for right now is just decoration. It's just big, just dead leaves, different types of leaves, and you can use it for just decoration, but mainly what it's for is this is actually great food for if you have a bioactive setup and you have springtails, or you have isopods, or any other type of cleanup crew that eats stuff like this. This is actually their type of fuel. So when they don't have molds or broken down biological items to break down, like pieces of crickets or worms or whatever. They feed off of this, and this is what keeps them going. So this stuff's always worked nice for me. I haven't used it for bioactive yet, but it doesn't mold as far as I can tell. It hasn't molded on me yet, and I've been using this stuff for about a year and a half now, and it looks nice. It gives the enclosures a nice little naturalistic environment, especially since I use fake plants as of right now. This is nice to just have something that's real in there. So yeah, that's what I use for all my essential stuff to have in your enclosures, in my opinion. This is the 3 things that you're going to have a tarantula enclosure. These are the 3 types of necessary supplies that you need to put in the enclosures for them. Okay, next, this is more the decoration part, I would say. These are cork bark pieces. These aren't necessarily decoration because I use them for their hides a lot of times. This is what I use to basically put down the dirt. You see in my other videos, I put pieces of this down the dirt, and then they use that as kind of like a starting tunnel or a cave or a hide, basically, like I said. So that's what you can use them for. But you can also use them for decoration. Like this piece isn't necessarily a great piece for a hide, but it's nice for a piece of decoration. Like you want to have something that's layered that you can put upwards for them to climb on, or if you want to put it downwards, just something for them, just enrichment in the enclosure. So these are great pieces. They don't mold very easily. They're nice and tough. I mean, this piece is really solid. I'm really trying to break it, and it's not going. So it doesn't break down very easily. It doesn't mold, like I said. And I've been using cork bark pieces for a long time, and I've had great success with them. I like them better than, you know, getting a plastic hide or a pottery hide or pieces of, you know, pottery or whatever. Plus, I also get these from the Bio Dude as well. If I don't have the packaging for this anymore, but I do get these from the Bio Dude, and it's nicer to get them from some store or some place, especially because then you know that they shouldn't have any parasites on them. They shouldn't have any undesirable biological bacteria on them or anything like that. You can get pieces of cork bark or wood from outdoors, but you really should bake them in the oven for a while to kill off anything. But just in my opinion, just so that you have the safety of not bringing in any negative thing into your enclosure by your tarantulas. So yeah, these are the cork bark pieces that I use. And then these are the fake plants that I use. These are from Pangea. These are made with a animal safe plastic. I was going to say silicone, but they're not silicone. They're plastic. I was going to say silicone because I did get a Pangea water dish. I think they actually call it a reptile feeder, but it's a little cap, and it's made from a animal safe silicone, and that's what I use for a water dish in one of my enclosures. But these are from Pangea, the animal safe plastic. They work good, you know, they're nice. Obviously, they're not a real plant, but they don't mold, which is nice. They don't die. They don't require watering, so they're pretty easy to take care of. It's nice. They come with these little suction cups in case you want to hang them from like the side of the enclosure. I don't really do that because I just don't want to have the risk of like a tarantula or spider crawling on one and then having it fall off. So I just kind of build these up on top of, like, if I have one, I take the little, you know, vine here and then lay it up against the cork bark so that way it has some stability. And then here's another one, same thing from Pangea. It's animal safe, same thing, just different color, different design. And that's what I use to just decorate my enclosures and just make them look a little bit more spruced up and not so boring and dead with just dirt, sphagnum moss, leaves, and pieces of bark. It just gives it a little bit of color. Eventually, like I said, I do want to get to being a bioactive enclosures for all my spiders because that's just the best. It's the most realistic. But until then, these will do just fine. Okay, so second to last is now what I use to maintain my enclosures. Well, enclosures / maintain the health of the tarantulas as well. So I use this spray bottle. This is a glass spray bottle. I use glass because then I know that it's not having any harmful chemicals from the plastic. I don't have to worry about, you know, it breaking down, or, I mean, it can break, but it can't necessarily break down or release any toxic stuff in it. So I just like using glass glass because it's the most healthiest. You can clean it a lot easier than plastic, in my opinion. And it has a couple of sides. It has more of a spray, and then it also has a straightforward shoot, which is nice. So yeah, that's what I use for the water. I don't use just straight tap water. I don't use bottled water. I use filtered water that comes from my refrigerator. It just is what I think is the safest, because obviously tap water, they treat it, but it's not necessarily the healthiest. So I use filtered water. That way I know that it's pretty much all safe and decontaminated. And then next, this is what I use to feed my feeders. So this is a dubia roach kind of diet. It's just a little dry powder here. I'm not sure exactly what it's made of yet, but I just put this in there with them. They eat this up, and I also put this in with my dubia roaches, even though it's made for crickets. And it's great. It says that it's, to gut load them. All my dubia roaches like it. They've been getting fat and they've been getting big, so that's good, and that's, better for spiders because then they have a healthier meal to eat. And then this is the cricket one. This is just kind of cubes. This is, I think it's a mix of like orange and carrot and other vitamins and stuff to gut load the crickets as well. I don't keep a ton of crickets, but when I do have the crickets, this is what I use, because then they have something to eat instead of each other, because crickets are notorious for just killing each other. I get a dozen crickets at a time, and by the time I'm done, I've only used about 4 of them, and the rest of them are dead because they just eat and kill each other unless I use this. So this is really good, and this helps to get them a nutritious diet so that when I feed the tarantulas, they have a healthy diet, and also to keep my crickets alive. And then these are my feeder tongs. These I got off of Amazon. These are just what I use to, grab the food, grab anything that I need to out of the enclosure, like a mold, or move a piece of plant or rock or whatever. That way I don't have to actually stick my hand in the enclosure and scare the tarantula or run the risk of them kicking hairs and getting them on my hand, or having them think that I'm the next meal. So I use these just as a safety precaution, and it makes it a lot easier to reach around inside of some of the enclosures. So I have a curved tip here and a straight tip here. I got these off of Amazon. They work really well. The stainless steel, so I like them, and they're easy to keep clean, and that's what I've been using forever. And then this is what I use. This is a little makeup brush that I got off of Amazon as well. This is what I use just to keep the tarantulas going where I need them to go, when I'm rehousing them a lot. As you probably saw in my last video, my last 2 videos actually, this is what I use to get the tarantulas to kind of coax them into going into the catch cup, so that way I can get them into the new enclosure. But it works good. It's the reason why I use a makeup brush is because they're soft tipped and not as hard and stiff as paint brushes are. So this is just nice and soft. And the reason why I use this is because these little bristles on here actually kind of slightly irritate them, or kind of like just tickle the tarantula, I guess you could say. So it gets them going. They don't really like the feeling of it necessarily, so they just get going. It doesn't harm them in any way or really cause any damage. It just aggravates them, like if you're having somebody tickle your foot or something like that. So this just works good. That way it can kind of guide them to where I need them to be. So that's it for what I use to maintain. Next is just what I use for my knowledge. Okay, so these are the books that I use for knowledge. Obviously, I use the internet and other people that I know that keep tarantulas for information, but these are great ways for me to just kind of traditionally learn about tarantulas, spiders, other inverts. It's nice to have books once in a while and not have to rely on the internet. So right here this one's pretty much my favorite one, because it's not just dedicated just to tarantulas. It actually has, like it says, spiders of the world or natural history, and this is by Norman Plantic, and it has nice beautiful pictures in here. Has nice descriptions of everything, tells you the relatives of the type of species that he's talking about. It gives a biology about what's going on with spiders and tarantulas, tells you how things work, how they climb, how they spin their webs, how they eat, how they molt. everything. So it's nice to actually have a good understanding of that stuff. So I like this book. It's great to have, you know, good information like this that tells you how things work, not just, you know, what they look like and where they come from. It's nice to know how things actually work. This one's nice. This one I just got recently. This one is basically just all tarantulas. It's only 50 species, I believe. Yep, 50. So it tells you a good rundown. It tells you what the humidity is for the enclosure humidity, what temperature they like, how long they live, where they come from, how big they get, what type of temperament they have, which, you know, that's depends on the type of tarantula that you get, or spider that you get. You know, you can get one that's notoriously being known for being kind of aggressive or skittish, but you can get one that's really calm and really just chill and doesn't mind you and doesn't really do too much crazy stuff. So it all depends, but there is a good thing to be known to just, some species are just known to be more wild than others. So this one gives nice pictures, nice overviews of the different types of tarantulas, so that's nice. And then this one's a little bit, it's like the first one, it's common spiders of North America, so this one's a little bit more informational again, and it's just nailed down to just North America, so it's nice to have. It's more like I call it a Boy Scout book. It's nice to just have and know, that way in case you run across anything, that way you know what they are and what they're like, and you know what species they are, and you know whether or not to avoid them or stick around and admire them. And then this one is a nice one too. This one's actually the first one I got. This one's another one just more informational. This one covers more arachnids in general, not just tarantulas. As you can see, the past couple ones have been scorpion and scorpion subtypes and stuff like that, vinegaroons and Taylor's whip scorpions. I believe that's a tick. Harvestman, actually, I'm sorry, ticks. Here we go, ticks. You know, just a more all around just about arachnids themselves, which that's nice to always know too. At least in my opinion, I find it interesting. I like them. This is tarantulas mating. You have different species of orb weaver back here. Jumping spiders, jumping spiders, which that's always cool. Just got one of these spiders, I believe. I believe that's the same species. And actually, in about 2 videos here, I'm going to be doing a housing of her and introducing you guys to her. So that have that to look forward to. So, alright guys, well that's pretty much it. I know my videos tend to run pretty long. I don't try to, but I just talk a lot and I have a lot to talk about. So, I'm glad you guys are enjoying the videos. I know some people have been commenting and even messaging me on Instagram, so I'm really glad you guys like these videos. I enjoy making them, and I look forward to just showing you all the different stuff that I get and learn about and have to show off, basically. As you guys can see, this is a little bit different setup than the past couple of videos. I recently redid my tarantula area, so now I have this nice new desk. I have a new enclosure area, which that's the next video. I'm going to be doing an overview of all my spiders and tarantulas and show you the new area and what it looks like, and then basically going over the future of what I plan on doing with them and the future of the channel, and just basically just doing that and talking about that. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye.